Ms. Kumaramangalam, why is it that you think that the Prime Minister's and the Home Minister's reassurances are not getting through, particularly to students today? I'm not even asking about the opposition parties, because when you look at the Citizenship Act on its own, that's one thing. But as people rightly point out, it's not the Citizenship Act alone which is driving this fear about this law. It is this combined with the NRC, which is what is worrying people. So how does one assuage people of their fears, given that?
Nidhi, the only thing that can really be done to assuage people's fears is to keep repeating what we've said, which is the truth. I appreciate Mr. Kanhaiya Kumar's sophistry and his capacity to have a vivid imagination, which he lets free when he makes all these accusations without absolutely any data or proof to back it. But that's a separate thing. The fact is that the NRC is separate from the Citizen Amendment Act now, not the bill. It's no longer the CAB, it's the CAA. One can't do more than have both the Home Minister and the Prime Minister say again and again that you're willing to talk to you. We would like to sit across and find out what your fears are. We are here to reassure your fears, and we are here to tell every Indian citizen that you are safe. Now, even in Assam, where the NRC was done and there were a lot of people left out, many of whom turned out to be from one particular religion, not another, and many of whom claimed that they don't have the sort of papers that they need, there is a process still in place where they can appeal. Now, I don't want to go into what happened in Assam, etc., but in Assam there was violence a few days ago, but the Chief Minister himself came out and the other main person there, who is the Home Minister, not Amitji, but the Home Minister of Assam, and they have managed to reassure people. Assam has returned to normalcy. With regard to the students' protests, it's very clear that not just in Delhi, but almost in every other place, Hyderabad and Chennai have so far been non-violent. Every human being has the right to protest and to dissent, but not violence, indulge in violence. What has happened in Delhi, both in Selampur and at JMU, perhaps may not have been the fault of the local people, whether they belong to one religion or another. But the fact that it was totally twisted by outside elements who had some sort of vested interest, whatever they may have been, and this has been proved today through videos that are circulating, through, I think, now the FIR that's been filed by the Delhi police.
Right.
It's very obvious that the protests of the students
I'll just take this point that you've made to Yogendra Yadav.
Just sorted, taken out of context.
But my question, Yogendra Yadav, is that when the Prime Minister says that we are here to listen to what the students have to say, who are they talking to? I think the question here is there is no dialogue between the government and the protesting students at any level, except police action.
To my mind, the question is there a dialogue within the government itself? The Home Minister speaks in two languages. He says in one place, NRC and CAB have nothing to do with each other. That's what I hear BJP spokesperson saying. And the same Home Minister in Assam says, don't worry, CAB will be brought before the NRC. So he links the two. The Prime Minister on the one hand says, we want conversation, no lies, no rumors, no attempt, no bigotry. And the same Prime Minister says, I know who's committing violence by their clothes. What is it? So I think it would be good if the Prime Minister had a conversation with himself, and if the Home Minister had a conversation with himself, then probably my colleague can come and defend them. To my mind, there are two fundamental problems here. One is the very principle of linking citizenship to religion, even if it is meant only for illegal migrants, even if it does not touch a single current citizen of India. Even then, it is fundamentally discriminatory. It goes against the fundamental rights which are available even to non-citizens residing in India. It goes against the preamble of the Constitution. This invokes the two-nation theory and therefore goes against the idea of India. The second question is, does it affect the existing citizens? CAB on its own does not. But CAB put together with NRC, of course it does. Because what it would do, and the Home Minister goes out of his way to tell the country that NRC will be completed before 2024. So there is no doubt that it is coming. In fact, one report today suggests that some work has already begun on it. A pilot project is already on. So the two have to be seen in combination. When seen in combination, it is absolutely clear that it would mean discriminatory treatment to people who are Muslims and as opposed to those who are
non-Muslims. Which is the question I asked Ms. Kumaramangalam at the beginning.
Once their citizenship is put to any doubt or test.
That's right. So Lalitha Kumaramangalam, the question is though that why is the government though not open to having some sort of a conversation with its own people? You know, when it comes to students being agitated, there's a sort of a very patronizing, well, you know, they're only being misguided, the political elements are misusing them, urban Naxals, as the Prime Minister called them, are firing off their shoulders. I mean, is there a denial that there may actually be, you know, a genuine angst here that students are expressing?
I don't think there's any denial, and I don't think we're being patronizing. It's just that what you may call the other side does not want to listen to us and wants to find fault with us even when we are trying to say that we do want to talk to you. Regardless of what Mr. Yadavji's sarcasm may be, the truth is that perhaps the other side just doesn't want to listen to us. The boot may well be on the other foot. But the fact here is that there is going to be no persecution of Muslims who are Indians. India is groaning under the weight of its own population. Let's be practical about what's happening in this country. We have thousands of farmers committing suicide because we are not able to meet even their basic living conditions. When we are asked to buy onions at 100 rupees, people like you and me who live in comfort, we start grumbling about it, whereas the poor onion farmer is committing suicide. Now, aside from this, the fact also is that while protest is fine, violent protest can never be accepted by anybody. And while we are finding fault to the police, and this I would like to say very clearly, that if the police has committed excesses, yes, they must be brought to task. But what about the other side also not only inconveniencing the common man, whether it's in Delhi or in West Bengal,
there is no proof that the students,
or anywhere else,
the people arrested for the Jamia violence have all turned out to be outsiders so far. They weren't students, and that's the question is the use of disproportionate force by the police.
This is what we are saying, that
I mean,
Nidhi, when you yourself say,
Nidhi, nobody denies that violence is condemnable, but we also have to question who is behind that violence. Yogendra Yadav, quick last comment to you on that. Ma'am, I don't have time. I just have time for one last comment from Yogendra Yadav. The question is how we are dealing with protest. Ma'am, I'm really sorry because I have just 30 seconds left.
Wrong when we say that outsiders are keying up
my mind,
I know that, but then the students shouldn't have been assaulted for what outsiders did. Yogendra Yadav, yes.
To my mind, the youth protest all over the country
who's to know they were outsiders till they were actually caught by the police?
Just for the reason you mentioned, because it is not merely people from the northeast, it is not merely Muslim minorities who feel targeted. Students and youth are bringing a third dimension. A majority of them are saying, look, I may not be directly affected, but this is in principle wrong. I do not want to live in a country which is constantly worried about writing the past. I want to live in future. I want to live in present. And this the government is not willing to listen to. The Prime Minister is still looking at the clothes of the students. I don't know why. This is the time. You stop looking at clothes, sir. Please look into their eyes. Please listen. Please look at the constitution that they hold in their hand. Please speak to them. Please learn to listen.
All right. Thank you very much to both of you for joining us tonight on that big story. It's not over yet. There's much more to come tomorrow as well, including in the Supreme Court.